My name is Prahlad Singh Kohli, and today is June 10th, of course, 2014. I've been in Delhi since long, actually. In fact, 1978, from Punjab, I was working Punjab and came to Delhi, and since then I've been in Delhi till I came to Canada in 2001. We had planned a vacation with the family, and we had planned to go to Amritsar and then Kashmir and go back to Delhi. We took a flight to Amritsar that was on 30th of May, and 31st I wanted to go to Darbar Sahib. I had my distributor who was very close to me for many years because I was working for a pharmaceutical company, and when I asked him that I like to go to Darbar Sahib with family because I had my small daughters as well with me, my wife, my daughters and my sister-in-law. And for the first time, I've been going almost every alternate month or every month. We always go to Darbar Sahib. And he said, as a friend, as a brother, I would not advise you to go. I hope you'll accept my suggestions. I say, you never said that. If you're saying that, there must be a reason. He said, things are not good. I did not go to Darbar Sahib. And we took a flight, went to Kashmir, Srinagar. From there, we went to Pahalgam. When I was in Pahalgam, this is what happened. Then we heard the news of the Operation Blue Star. In fact, the firing started a day after I left. We left on 31st, and I think the trial firing started off. And then, the final action, army operation took place. And when there's so much of Sangat there on that particular day, when I heard in Kashmir, Pahalgam, I was really shocked. The only thing, it was all coming as a filter news. That's not a real news what we were getting. And I had to come back to Delhi from there. I wanted to get a flight direct to Delhi, but I could not get. I got a flight to Jammu only. When I reached Jammu, I thought I'll get a train and go to Delhi from there. But Jammu was under curfew. We were only escorted from airport to railway station, and we were put in the waiting rooms. With small kids, I tried my best and got a retiring room. And finally, they wanted that anybody who can pay for the first class fare can get into the army train. And I was really not prepared. I had a friend there. He came to railway station, although I didn't need money, but he left a lot of money with me. And I could buy the first class tickets. And we boarded the army train. And I know on way how things were. I was lucky that I went escorted by the army, and we incidentally 6 officers, and they really took care of us well. And I reached Delhi, and since then, we keep hearing 84, lest we forget, but the turmoil, what happened in Blue Star was intolerable, and that's how the reaction from all communities, Sikh communities in different walk of life took place. Like Khushwant Singh even returned his Padma Shri at that time. That was about June 84. Now, coming to November 84, that was something, which we experienced. We went, we saw, we heard people telling us what happened to them. We were thinking at one time, sometime in September, we were planning that we should start an organization which, can spread goodwill for the Sikhs, because Sikhs were at that time by the government just branded as terrorists. Not good human being, not people with the good values. We thought we'll have that organization. We planned the name National Sikh Welfare Council. And then suddenly, this thing came up. And our all energy was channelized not on the plan which we had in mind, but on the other side. I was actually, when the incidents happened, when Indira Gandhi was killed, I was actually in my office at Kirtinagar, Johnson & Johnson, and I heard the news, and even the emergency vehicle, it came to our office because we had Ethicon Catgate, which are really required for that surgery. Vehicle was asked to bring the Catgates, and then of course my colleague, my branch manager, asked him this time that we should better go home. And he indirectly told me not to travel by train in immediate future. I really appreciate what he told me, because if we look back in those 5 days, all the trains coming from UP from Haryana, Rewari side or Ghaziabad side. They never left any Sikh alive in the train. They were dragged out, killed. Even people, we are people, we drive a lot of trucks here. Sikhs are transporters, and they have their own trucks and all that. I found that a lot of people who were taking trucks, they were taken out of trucks and slaughtered. My wife's cousin, who lived in Saharanpur, he was going on the Ghaziabad side. He was taken out of the truck and he was killed, and we didn't know about his whereabouts. It was much later I went to Bulandshahr, because that's where I was told that probably he wanted to load something. When I went there, the person who helped me was a Muslim magistrate. He said, I'll find out what happened and where it happened. And when I went back after a week, he gave me all the place from where it happened, where the case is registered, so that the family could get a claim for him. We got his belongings back, and of course the family got compensation which they deserved. I never traveled on these sites by train after that. Till I was working Johnson & Johnson for many years, even Jaipur I used to take a flight. I was so much concerned about traveling by train, because it's something which cannot be forgotten, how people are dragged out and killed in the trains. From 31st right up to the 5th, we were just indoor. Only thing I'm proud to say is we were lucky. We were living in an area, Rajouri Garden in Delhi, where we had a lot of people who had migrated from Pakistan after partition, and they had value for life. They knew what happened. And they were all with us. I mean, it was mostly Punjabi community, Sikhs, non-Sikhs, and all those people were together, and we protected our locality. Only one incident took place. One electronic shop was burned out, where the people just entered our locality, and that was the last thing which happened. We never allowed anyone to come. And then on 6th of November, when everything was over, the curfew was over, and we thought, we had a meeting and we decided we should go to areas which are badly impacted close to our home. A lot of areas were across the Yamuna, but nearest to West Delhi was Mangolpuri and Sultanpuri. We went there and found all the house burned, everything was taken off, nothing was left in the house, and there was no doors in the house even. We did meet many people. We started asking them what happened, and we were told, the tires put into the neck and they were set on fire, petrol put on the people, some people made to drink petrol. We had all the surveys done, and Indian Express wanted our help at that time. We had 100 doors ready, and we had ordered 400 doors for people to come and settle down back in their homes. And Indian Express even offered to pay us money. We said, no, it's all Sanghas money. It's nothing from our side, and we don't want money. It was such a confidence level which was generated at that time. Mr. Varghese, I remember partially, I think he was the editor. And then every case they started sending to us. We helped people settle down in Mangolpuri and Sultanpuri by giving them the necessary funds to buy a three-wheeler, to get the three-wheeler repaired, or to buy a small ready for the selling vegetables. We made them sell. They were all in Rakabganj, and they mostly came back to their homes. And after that, we found that an area close to our home, Tilak Nagar, behind that a colony was made, Tilak Vihar. They had slum quarters made for slum people, and all the impacted people from Trans Yamuna were made to settle down. All the widows, they were made to settle down there. We had around approximately 1,000 to 1,200 widows there who were given the slum quarters. That's where from our charity's real journey began. National name was not approved by the government because national is not accepted. We changed the name to Nishkam Sikh Welfare Org, which worked in that area for 20 years. Even still is working. But 22 years took to settle down the people there, get admission for the children, give them education. We had 22 teachers, of course, who were giving them the tuitions, morning shift and evening shift, depending on the children, which shift they were in school. And we gave them uniform. We had a community center. We employed widows who are not working. We paid them at that time whatever reasonable money was there to make uniforms, the kacheres, Sikhi kacheres, and all those things. We had used to put a stall in Bangla Sahib Gurudwara, And I still remember my small daughters, 5 years and 7 years, they used to be the standing on the stall. And my wife used to give coaching in the community center, stitching and knitting center, it was called. And incidentally, we were so involved that I was working as a regional sales manager in Johnson & Johnson, a US company it's a very good job. I had a good position in Delhi. I was in branch office. And finally, after I just forgot my work, I was so much involved in this. Every day morning I used to go there, find what we can do, how best we can help, go to people, ask them for donations so that, we can take care of them. And I lost my job, but God has been great. I was called from home. It's not a company like Johnson & Johnson, but financially God took care of me at that time. I can never forget 84. A lot of people decided to go and shift from Delhi to Punjab. And even one of my uncle asked me, "It's not time that we should leave?" I told him, "No, it's our right. We are Indians. If we are Indians, it's our right to be here. Unless situation comes, we have to leave this place. I don't want to be covered. I don't want to run away from here." And that's what has been I'd like to share with you. But it was really unforgettable incidents. Even the widows who are in 1,200 widows which were there in that place, how badly they were impacted, it's very hard to tell. Main thing is they didn't want a sick male member to survive in those areas. Even if they were children, they were not spared. Whosoever was in the house were not spared, they were killed. Only those who are away, those who are away in the business or work somewhere or somewhere else, those are people who or those who could find some shelter somewhere and hide out. Those are people who were really left out. But it was all organized violence, fully supported by, at that time, the people in power. I remember, we had army vehicles going on, and one of the army officer incidentally confided and said, "We have no orders to fire. We are just here to see. We cannot take any action." So he said, although there is a curfew, I would like you people to take care of yourself. Be united, fight it out. And that's what we did. I really feel proud that people were in the lanes whole night, taking turns and making sure that nobody comes and goes for this manslaughter or taking away our properties or valuables.